I did a little more digging and I did find a genealogy trail website. Now, as I explained, I know the area from called Foxes. We called it Foxes Plantation. Why we called it that, I don't know. But my mom also said that her birth certificate has Lee's Plantation on it. So I have still have not found anything that has Foxes nor Lee's on it. But what I do know that that area did exist, and I still know where that area is to this day because I do remember as a kid spending time with my grandparents there. I believe a great grandparent. There was a lady who had an outhouse. There also was the times that I rode my uncle go-kart around that plantation, around those fields in which it was dirt and cotton. Yes, I also do remember that's where I learned to drive. I remember my dad would sit me in his lap. I could not reach the pedal. And at the time, he would just show me how to drive by steering. Then I learned how to drive. I did start driving my daddy. So then I learned how to drive a go-kart. My uncle had a little go-kart that they put together, like a Mario go-kart. And I would get on it and drive it around the dirt road. I do remember this area. Now, I looked here on this website. I found nothing in that area. But what I did find was some Mississippi plantations. Now, I found no Lee, no. So, Bolivar County, I do believe, is where Bayer is now, which was Delta and Pineland, which was, the fine cotton spinners areas, the court lords. So right there it says Bolivar, I'm assuming Bolivar County in Mississippi. Formed in 1836 from Choctaw secession of 1830. And those are all the plantations. So Bolivar has multiple cities within it. I think to include Cleveland, Mississippi, Benoit. So Bolivar County includes Rosedale. I've been to Rosedale. I've been to Cleveland. It includes Clarksville, Mound Bayou, and we know that Mound Bayou is down the road from Foxes, down the road from the Indian Mound. And there's the Winterville Mound. We call it the Indian Mounds, right down the road, right there. So yes, Benoit is in Bolivar County as well. Benoit is down the road from Scott, Mississippi. Delta and Pineland is down the road from Benoit, which is Bolivar County. Now, when you look on this list, I don't see Scott, Mississippi as being in Bolivar County. So now if you use a Copilot search, it says County for Scott, Mississippi, Delta and Pineland Company area. Scott, Mississippi, the small community, it is historically associated with the Delta and Pineland, is located in Bolivar County. The county seat is Benoit. So we go back to Bolivar, and that's the list of plantations there, formed in 1836 from Choctaw session of 1830. So what we do know is that with the help of AI, I never knew that this was a thing. I never knew the actual major tribes or tribe. So this is what we do know is that Bolivar County, Mississippi, named after Simon Bolivar, was formed in 1836 from land that became available through the Choctaw Cession of 1830, also known as the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek. That treaty was the first major Native American removal agreement under the Indian Removal Act of 1830, where the Choctaw Nation seceded roughly 11 million acres of their homeland in Mississippi in exchange for land in Oklahoma, then Indian Territory. So somewhere there were some Indians, Choctaw, and any other tribes, indigenous people who somehow stayed behind, mixed into black communities, or hid A lot of people hid in swamps around the area like Mount Bayou. And also, it was the largest land cession by a Native American tribe up to the point actually seceded is the formal legal term, but in plain terms, it means gave up. They gave up or surrendered. They had to because of the treaty, or many would say slaughtering. Also, the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek was signed under enormous pressure. The Indian Removal Act had just passed. Andrew Jackson was threatened forced removal regardless, and Choctaw leaders were negotiating from a position of no real power. Many Choctaw people opposed to the treaty entirely. So secession is a diplomatic word that makes it sound like a clean legal transaction. The reality was more like coerce, surrender, give up the land on paper, or be forcibly driven out anyways. So it is the same pattern used across the Southeast with multiple tribes during that era. The legal language softens what essentially are taken. So to this day, we still say that many tribes, Native American, indigenous people, they were removed. The ones who probably refused to remove, stayed back, fought, were probably slaughtered. And that's how some still stayed and survived, hid instead of be removed and walked miles and miles and miles into another location. You also have the Trail of Tears as well. So that is still why we say stolen land. Language will try to soften what happened, what really happened, but you can't just remove a nation. You just can't remove people in that manner from a land that they were already on when they were already there, and give them paperwork when there was no HOA. I mean, just come up with something to remove a whole race of people, a whole ethnic group of people. And why would you remove people, Indians, then bring slaves across on the ship?